I meet a lot of founders. I mean, I probably see thousands of founders because I give everybody a shot. But very few people, I leave the meeting saying, this person understands what they are doing. There's only forgiveness. There's nothing like karma. If the person that you say, is a bad person, then if he gives his life to Christ tomorrow, he will go to heaven.
So let's go back to Flutterwave. That's okay, right? At some point, Flutterwave started as a local business, correct? As a Nigerian business.
Yes. It's always been a Nigerian business.
At the beginning, has always been a Nigerian business. But now we think of Flutterwave as a global business.
It's a global business, yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And an impressive one, actually. So at what point did the business recognize the need to scale globally?
For all our businesses, even Andela, once we conquered Nigeria, we had to scale. Because what you quickly realize, there's such a thing as Nigeria risk. And I think it's overvalued, but a lot of people will say, why are you just in Nigeria? Nigeria can go belly up tomorrow. I don't believe it. And these days, if you ask me now, I would have preferred to spend more time in Nigeria than to go out. But at that time, if you're chasing investor money, you wanted to provide them some level of comfort. That, the whole business is not just in Nigeria. There's some of it's in Nigeria, a big portion of it is in Nigeria, but there's these other markets that you like Kenya and South Africa, where we also are. Okay,
that's an interesting response. I know you're probably...
Everyone calls me E.
Everyone calls you E.
Everyone calls me E.
But it's a very, very simple way to just refer to anyone. Just one letter word.
We gotta keep it simple.
Keeping it simple. So what do you think Nigerian founders should keep in mind when trying to scale internationally?
So I think the first thing you have to do is to, what I call, follow a psychographic pattern. So
you have to define.
I would define it. So, you see, most of the world thinks geographically, right? Okay. So, for example, you're in Nigeria. This is the geographic boundary of where you are. If you're an enlightened person, you might think more demographically. So, for example, you think black people all over the world. Right? If you're thinking geographically, you're thinking Africa. If you're thinking demographically, you're thinking black people.
Absolutely.
But when you're thinking psychographically, you're thinking everybody who has a particular behavior pattern. So I'll give you an example with Move. So when we started Move, one of our companies in Nigeria, so I don't know if you see any of the Suzukis on Uber. That's us. Yeah. That's Move. We finance those vehicles for the drivers.
Amazing.
And they pay us back, and Uber pays us, and then we pay the drivers. Now, when we started in Lagos, we knew that in Lagos, geographically, right, a lot of the people who have the time to drive don't have the money to buy cars. And the people that have the money to buy cars don't have the time
to
drive. We understood that geographically.
Yes.
So we're like, okay, why don't we finance the people who have time but no money? So we can turn their time to money and take a piece of the pie. Right? Now, that turned out to be true in most African countries, right? For the same basic reason, right? Most people in most countries, the people that have money to buy cars are not the same as the people that have time to drive the cars. That's why we have drivers, right? However, when we tapped out on the African market, because the reality is like, look, you are financing a car. A car is a $6,000 expense. Very few people can afford that, even if you give them finance. So, but when we tapped out on it, one day my colleagues were just in London to pitch investors. We're all in London to pitch investors. And we started asking the Uber driver some questions. Where are you from? What are your rates? And then all of a sudden, the guy was a Pakistani guy. And we realized that, psychographically, immigrants have the same problem. You arrive London, right? You have all the time in the world because you're jobless, but you don't have money.
Yes.
So when you're thinking psychographically, you realize that, come on, this problem is actually bigger than just black people or Nigerians. It's actually a problem that inflicts anybody who has, an immigrant status. I mean, and there the fares are higher,
Yes.
the cars are cheaper,
Yes.
the financing to buy the cars is cheaper.
True.
So we launched in London, and within a month or a few months, London became bigger per day than our entire Nigeria business per month.
Wow. Wow.
So that's what happens when you think psychographically. So don't, what I tell Nigerians is, look, don't limit your genius. Understand your customer deeply. Be curious. When you travel for those investor pitches, don't just be in your car enjoying, Uber. Be looking for the opportunities. Ask questions.
Absolutely.
Build relationships. That's the way, you're able to think psychographically, and that allows you to be able to expand rapidly internationally.
It's an interesting way to now view businesses and opportunities. And I'm sure that a lot of our listeners are picking up on this.
Well, I hope they are.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Okay, so Iyinoluwa, my next question to you would be on, partnering for growth, right? There are a lot of businesses that are doing very similar, that have similar services, similar products. For someone who is an investor, as just like yourself, right? What would make a company A, similar product, stand out from a company B, similar product to you?
So I think I usually try to understand from customers which one they prefer. And usually what I've learned it boils down to is how well does this product get me? Does the product understand me? I.e., does the person who made this product actually understand me? And whenever our users feel seen, they are loyal. They don't want to go anywhere. They stick with the product that sees them. And the product that doesn't see them, they will just keep it to one side. And you can spend all the marketing money in the world on a product that people don't feel sees them, and you will get zero results. And you see that product that sees the right people, it will spread by word of mouth.
Amazing.
So just keep your focus on, making sure that your business serves customers deeply. It actually sees them.
So
you
basically
understand,
be customer-centric.
Extremely customer-centric. If you know, and again, it's usually a function of how you understand where your product sits in your customer's life. So, for example, if let's just say your business is to do tickets, visa, that kind of thing, right? And you haven't thought about pickup in the country. You just rely on the hotel to do it. Maybe they've paid for their visa and their tickets. Kilo komi.
Yes.
If I find an option where somebody is arranging transportation for me on the other side, I will switch.
It's just that extra value.
That's it. I will just switch because you've left me stranded as far as I'm concerned. So somebody who's going to give me a more integrated experience. Because nobody enjoys dealing with vendors, even if they are stingy. Nobody enjoys it.
Yes.
You don't want to be paying different people.
Absolutely.
So you would rather just deal with one vendor and pay the person big money.
Yes.
And deal with 5 different vendors, and you understand what I'm saying? So think holistically about your customer's need and where you sit in the customer's. You understand what I'm saying? And you can extract a lot of value from your customer that way.
For you to invest in a business, I want to believe that there has to be some level of trust.
Yes. Absolutely.
So how should businesses, and I'm not saying they need to fake it, but how should businesses better position themselves to show that they are actually the real deal or an honest business to partner with or invest in? For
Honestly,
growth,
what has worked for me is radical transparency. Like radical transparency. And, you know, a lot of people looking for investments like they are acting. They have a pitch, they rehearse. Me, I just sit down and tell you how it is. The what's and all. This was going well. This was not going well.
yes.
This is where I need help. This is where I'm challenged. This is where I know I'm strong. When you speak to investors like that, investors build trust with you very fast because transparency leads to trust. When you see somebody, his hands is like this. You're not thinking. There's no gotcha. You can see.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? What the mistake a lot of founders make is trying to package. Doesn't
Packaging
work.
is a problem.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. People, I see a lot of people. It may work the first time, or it may work for people that are inexperienced. It won't work with the biggest investors because one of the things you have to also understand is that any investor you're going to that is worth their while actually has money to give. Is seeing thousands of businesses like you every day. So you're not the only one. So you going there thinking that somehow you can fool somebody it's like I buy watches for a living and I see hundreds of watches every day. By the time I've bought the 10th fake watch, maybe I will know which one is fake and which one is original just by looking. So when you do yourself a lot of disservice when you try to package. Many investors go in not expecting things to be perfect, but wanting to know where they can add value. And what would have happened when you position yourself like you're all good, everything is fantastic, when it's not, is that investors quickly, they're like, well, there's no risk in this business, but yet something is not adding up. And honestly, investors don't have time. So they won't ask you what's not adding up. They'll just assume this is not real.
You don't know your onions like this.
Yeah, either you don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
or you're just lying. I mean, we assume everybody's lying. So that's the easiest conclusion to come to. So if you really want to break through the trust barrier with investors, just be radically transparent.
You know, it reminds me of the phrase by, actually, something that Mr. Tony Cole said at the Doing Business in Nigeria conference this year, 2025. He said, you should not fake it to make it because it might break you. You know, he said that, and it aligns with what you've just said now. Just do not package, be transparent, radical transparency, like you say. So Iyinoluwa, it's been really interesting talking to you. I've been laughing and smiling and learning a lot as well. And I think that it would be nice to have a part 2 with you because we don't, honestly, I feel like you have so much to give and so much to say. But one thing that I'd like you to speak on before you leave is just your final words. So if you're in a room filled with overwhelmed entrepreneurs and you have 120 seconds, you know, to say something to them, what would you say? So look into the camera and speak to these entrepreneurs.
I think the biggest thing is to prioritize rest. You know, when your computer is slow, what do? You shut it down. Yeah, if you're trying to, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that uses computer here, right? You shut it down. You click, it's not working, you shut it down. You shut down the applications, shut it down. Because a computer that is slow is of no use to anybody.
Absolutely.
So the first thing I'll tell overwhelmed entrepreneurs is prioritize rest. Just shut down and go away. Me, I think a big sign, I mean, what I started to do 3 years ago no matter who you are, in July, between the first 14 days of July, if you like, be the president, I'm not coming to see you.
Now I know.
Yes,
July.
doesn't matter. July. 1st
Now
to
I know.
15th
So
of
in
July.
July,
But people
I'm not
that deal
going
with
to
me
disturb
regularly
you.
know. People that know me regularly know that July is impossible. Just
Okay.
there's no point. You will not show up. There's nothing. Even if it's the president, it cannot show. Can't. It's not possible.
Even if
it will
it's
not
our
count,
president.
I'm telling you. That's the only time that I make that kind of rule. Any other time, if I'm in Japan,
Yeah.
I will show up. But I do not. You have to pick a time in the year or in the quarter as often as you need it, and just say, look, I do not let anybody touch this block of time.
This time is sacred.
Sacred time.
Yeah.
You have to have that because of the second thing I'll say, which is clarity is far more important than resources. Many times people think their problem is money. And anytime somebody comes to me and says, I just need funding, I just know you haven't thought through the problem. Do you understand? I just know you haven't really thought through the problem. If all you need, I'm not saying that you don't need funding, no, but if the only thing that you need is funding, you haven't thought through your problem.
I agree.
You're trying to buy a solution to your problem, and it doesn't work. You cannot buy your way out of problems in your business. You will just be wasting money.
Yes.
So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is put your customers first. Customers are very, 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 as overwhelmed and whatever as you are, your customers are even more so. Let me just tell you. Because their own pressure comes from a place they cannot control. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if you are not a source of relief for your customer, right? The truth of the matter is they might tolerate you, but only for as long as they cannot find an alternative. The moment that your customer can find an alternative to you, they will jackpot. So make sure that you serve your customer very well. Don't just be thinking profits. Serve your customer well. Your customer will pay you back in leaps and bounds. All that money you are spending on marketing, your customer can do all your marketing for you if you serve them well. So just focus on your customer. Those three things. Number one, prioritize rest. Number two, clarity is more important than resources. And number three, just prioritize your customer. Focus on your customer, not on competition.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the insights. We're bringing you back. We'll have another episode with you, but it would not be in July. I promise you.
That's the most important thing, not in July.
It wouldn't be in July.
Yes.
It's been an interesting and an engaging conversation, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here.
So thank you so much.
Same here, Coach.
So this brings us to the close of today's episode, and we'd just like to say thank you to everyone watching, and we hope to see you next time. Linda Oneze signing out.